All right, welcome back to Moms on a Mission. This is episode 39. 39. Okay, we said we were going to stop doing that, but I don't know if there's a point.
But you continue on.
Yeah. But I haven't stopped, so it's okay. So today we are recording a super special episode. As you can see, we have guests with us today. These are our husbands. My husband's name is Matt, and Laura's husband's name is Josh. And you guys know that because we talk about them all the time. But this was an episode that was supposed to be recorded like 8 months ago.
25-ish episodes ago. But better late than never.
Yes, we talked about, I think it was a Father's Day episode.
It was,
that we talked about for 2025. It was Father's Day. We were talking about marriage and interviewing our husbands, kind of getting their take on everything. But then it never happened because they're busy.
Life.
Yes. So it's happening now.
That's right.
Yes, so we're actually at February 7th, 2026. So we're right before Valentine's Day. So y'all say a prayer for them.
Yes, they feel like we've set them up for failure.
Yes.
We haven't.
This was not what they wanted to be doing.
Not today.
No.
So,
but it's okay. We feel like it's important.
Yeah.
Because we actually, when we were kind of prefacing for this, and we talked about it on our previous episode, that was, last year, we were talking about getting their take on things. And we can say all of our perspective and everything all we want, but then how do they actually feel about it? And we kind of felt it would help the mamas and the wives from, to get someone else's take and from the guy perspective on some of our questions and, just make fun while we're doing it.
Yep. So here we are. And we went back, we actually looked the questions back up.
Yes.
Because you said when we originally started this, it was almost as if we were going to pitch this like the Newlywed Game.
Yeah.
We were going to ask these questions and see if they were either going to answer correctly for us or if we had the correct answers for them.
Right.
Vice versa.
Yeah.
So do you want to open us in a short prayer before we
Sure.
get any farther?
Yep. All right. Lord, we just come to you today. We're super excited. We're so very grateful for this time. Lord, we really do feel like this is going to be a special episode. We're excited to have our guys on here and just let them see what we do and how we do it every week. And we just ask that you bless this conversation. Let it be a blessing for those other couples and those other women that are out there that listen to us. And just let your words speak through us. It's in your name that we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Can I make an additional prayer?
Oh, yeah.
Dear Lord, protect Matt and I so that we do not get in the doghouse with the wrong answers.
Amen.
Amen.
I told him, I said, I think you guys are just really overthinking this.
I know. This is if you guys know, we don't script this out. This is very conversational. So they're way over, they're way over worrying about it for sure.
I think so too.
So I made some show notes, just so that we could remember, what we talked about previously. So, some of the topics that was when we were doing, over 1 hour episodes. So it was a super long episode. And, but we talked about a lot of stuff with that. And so, one of the things was, topics that we touched on were, talk to us about the pressure of being the main provider, because Laura and I work from home. We have some income, but for me, I know it's not consistent. I think Laura makes a little bit more consistency than I do, but
sometimes. But I still feel like it's very easy for both of us to say that our husbands are the sole providers for our families. You
Yes,
guys are
definitely.
breadwinners. The pressure's on you guys. And so that was the point that we were trying to get at, is that they carry all the load.
Right. Yeah, and we've had some guys when we started this, I've had some guys come to me and say, well, because originally we were talking about mom guilt a lot. And it was well, what about dad guilt? What about, all these things that for guys too, it's not just about, you guys aren't the only ones that experience this.
Right.
So we talked a little bit about that. We talked about how current culture kind of puts pressure on both of us in all different ways. In the past, men were expected to, they leave every day, they go, they make the money, they come home, house is provided, is pretty well taken care of, meals are cooked, kids, when they're especially young, they, that really didn't have a whole lot to do with dad. Now the pressure's on. You guys are expected to help cook meals occasionally, help pick up the house as well. We're expected to help provide in some areas, if we can. And I think we put a lot of that pressure on ourselves more than they do, honestly.
Yeah. And we just spoke about how it's more of a trade-off now instead of we've just kind of moved away from the homemaker, style, lifestyle. Now, not to say that we don't still do plenty around the house, that mimics that.
Mm-hmm.
But we do get the ability to go out and do some things, not only that we enjoy, but, sometimes to make some money as well.
Oh, yeah.
And just break up the monotony of being at home all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like you said, same for them as far as, because you mentioned that there were family members, grandfathers and stuff like that, they were not expected to change a diaper. They were not expected, to do those sorts of tasks.
Sometimes they weren't even there when the babies were born.
Right.
We talked about that, like how our grandfathers, they weren't at the hospital when the babies were born. Like, they might come later on and maybe see wife, but they weren't holding hands and push, babe.
Right, yeah. And just how there's been such a cultural shift in all those things.
Yeah, and very quickly, really, overall.
It's not really been that long ago.
But do you think that's a good thing in a lot of ways? In a lot of ways, I say yes. But there's some ways that I think it has created some weaker men.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think so. I do think it's a good thing because we do kind of shoulder load a lot more. But at the same time, I think it really, like in a traditional home, you had a very clear-cut role as a man. You had a very clear-cut role as a woman. Now it's like everybody has to know how to do everything, So yeah. I think there's major pros and cons to that kind of thing. Do you think so too?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's got to be a balance. And we can talk about one generation to another generation all the way back into the Bible times. But I mean, it's... who was it? Was it for John the Baptist? His dad was there. He couldn't speak until after he was born.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that.
Yep.
So I think it's really just a time period and different stages and really how you were raised and how different families were brought up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I guess it didn't have to be that way for every family. Wasn't necessarily that way for everybody, but...
No, I think we're just making generalizations.
Yeah, for sure. Then one of the other things that we talked about was we talked about the dad guilt thing. And then as far... this was something that we kind of wanted to just have you guys touch on too, of like, you guys are both in church now and have friends in church and have, mentors and things like that. And like, I really have loved kind of watching that journey of like you guys having older guys to talk to, that you've enjoyed like joining groups with, things like that. And I think sometimes other guys need to hear like, it's a great thing. Like, like you don't, and it's not even, you don't come home and like have those discussions with your wife or whatever. Those are like guy discussions. You guys have been able to talk through things that you wouldn't have, we wouldn't have had that conversation because you wouldn't have had like a man mentor if, me and you were trying to work through that. Like, so we kind of thought that would be kind of neat to just kind of get your guys' perspective on that.
Yeah, because I feel like we're so willing to maybe jump into a group or something like that. And I feel like it takes men a little bit longer to get going.
Yeah.
But once they do, I think it's almost like, oh man,
I think they get more. They might get more out of it than we do, though.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
I like the men groups that I've been a part of. They've really poured into me, and yeah, it takes me a little while to open up. I mean, been going to the torch 12 years,
Something
13
like
years
that,
now, and I mean, some of the guys that I've seen there for 12 years, I just started getting in groups with them and really talking to them. So it definitely takes some time that you can feel like you can open up to somebody about your past, how you were raised, or things that you struggle with, because you always feel like, okay, this is my church life, can I really be honest? Well, I've had a bad past,
Right,
you know,
right.
or I've had some bad things that's happened that I've had to struggled with and overcome. Um, how much do I really let these people
Right.
in? But
Yeah.
having those mentors, you know, first pour into you, then you can actually see, okay, yeah, no, everybody's like me. You know, they've had issues, they've struggled, and then you can actually start to relate and pour back into them.
Yeah. Josh, are you in groups at church?
Not
guy
any of the
groups?
men's groups.
We're in a small group.
We're in a small group, but I
yeah.
think for a lot of men, the reason this is so tough, and I mean, y'all are on episode 39. Y'all have been doing this for how long now?
Almost a year.
Yeah.
Okay, a year.
Yep.
Matt, how many times have we hung out in a year?
Yeah.
I shake your hand at church
yeah,
every day,
yeah.
Right.
every Sunday, and every Wednesday. We have a brief conversation, but I think for men, it's really hard for us to try to get close to people. We're taught from the time we're old enough to talk, boys don't cry, toughen up, be a man. This is how we are taught, and it is indoctrinated in us from very young, so that we hold so much stuff really close to the chest because we don't
Want to feel weak.
want to feel weak. It ain't your problem to have to listen to it. It is absolutely my problem to deal with, and men don't like to have somebody else deal with their problems, right? We are problem solvers. This is how we were designed to take a problem and solve
Right.
it physically.
Yeah.
Not go seek help to solve it, although we probably should. That's why men don't ask for directions. How many times we ever heard that? We'll get lost before we will ever
Y'all just
go
have some
ask
sort
for
of compass,
directions.
though. I can't figure that out.
You don't ask for directions. You don't use directions to build things. It's just
Oh, that's
No, but you realize that goes way back for
Yeah.
us. You know, so this is why it's so hard for us to get into men's group because we're not worried about being judged. That's not the problem. I'm not like women. I think women
Oh,
are
we're
more
terrified of that.
concerned
We're-
about being judged.
Yeah. I think
You-
that's a big one.
You can judge me if you want. You can like me if you want. Doesn't matter to me. It's not an issue that I face. It's just getting close to somebody.
Right.
We are closer to our wives than anybody else, right? And that's how it should be. And we're okay with that. This and my kids. If that's the only real group that I got,
Right.
I'm okay with that. That's the only group I have to trust.
Until you hear consistently that we're not made to do life alone. We're not
Yeah.
made to do life alone.
Yeah.
You know, that's driven into us at church. And we're not. And I know that it's really hard for you to branch out and make friends. But I think over the last probably 2 years or so, you've definitely done that more so. And it's just been a process and it's just taken time.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't like fishing, we're not friends. So just rule
There's
that's
that.
the ground rule.
Well, then you wouldn't have anything to talk about. So,
Yeah.
I mean, what would be the point?
Exactly.
Well, okay. And then, so, like, kind of like wrapping it up, we wanted to play like a version of the newlywed game.
Yeah.
Of like, and that's what they're scared of. So,
It's
Not
fine.
scared. I just feel like the doghouse is getting here close.
No, we don't
No.
have any crazy questions or scenarios. I feel like these are just very basic
yep,
general questions.
definitely.
You got prep time. It's not really fair. I had no prep time.
It is true.
No. Not much. It was in here.
Much none.
These are just basic questions.
Yes.
I said, I'll drive, and then that way you can read me the questions. No service the whole way over here, so she couldn't pull up the
It's
questions.
true. I was like, oh no, I'm not going to be able to do that.
Oh, darn it.
Okay, so one question, like when just a minute ago, we were talking about like, okay, let us in on like the pressure of being like the main provider. Like, because I know like everybody knows that watches this, they know that I'm like money minded. I put pressure on myself. It does not come from him about, you know, I want to help provide. I want to like give some money. I want to at least like I'll buy my own clothes. Like I just have this thing about the providing, but I've never had to be like the sole provider. And like I think for like sometimes it's easy for mamas to forget that what that burden could possibly feel like.
Yeah.
We may not have ever had that burden, especially if, you know, you get married and then almost immediately you have kids. So then you were making your own money, but then you go home, you have kids, like there's not necessarily a time where that pressure is put on you unless you become single or something like that. And then you're like, whoa. So I would just kind of love to hear from you guys. Like, I know you're okay with it, but is there something like you wish that I knew, or like from throughout this time of like being the provider? Like, I know you're okay with it being the provider, but I also put a lot of pressure on myself. Like, you carry a lot of the weight.
Is there something that we don't know, though?
Josh, you go first.
Yes, I think I know you do, and I would assume just from hearing some of the conversation, you do the same. Y'all put a lot of pressure on yourself that we don't expect at all.
Right.
I know a lot of women say, well, my husband wants me to have dinner ready when I get home. Listen, I'll eat a bowl of cereal. I don't care if there's dinner ready or not. If there's dishes in the sink, I'm not losing any sleep over that stress. That's y'all are stressing
true.
about
But
that.
I mean, there usually is, some form of dinner or plans made for dinner or something. Like, I don't ever want you to walk into this house not knowing what's next.
But that goes back to that's the weight that you're carrying. And
I just feel like that's just almost a common decency.
Do you agree? Do you eat a bowl of cereal? Don't care?
Yeah, I mean, and there again, I think it's stages of life. The stages that we're in. I mean, your kids are in sports. Our kids are in sports. Trying to juggle just work and get the things done and be able to get them to wherever they've got to go. I mean, just getting to bed, it's a chore, and that's what the goal is get all the other things accomplished. I wouldn't even say. I think that is more stressful than carrying the burden of, a financial standpoint from you guys. Just making sure that we know where we need to go and do after the.
You want to make sure the calendar's updated and everybody's there when you get there.
Yes,
because we're all in a very busy season. You know, just we are.
Yeah, and just we don't want y'all to put that weight on yourself. The financial side of it, making sure the mortgage is paid and the power's on, we got that.
Right.
That's okay. Don't stress over. Well, you don't have to. That's important to us.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What we want, it's not a kiss when we walk in the door. It's not all that. All I want is peace when I get home. And I'm not even saying peace is leave me alone, I'm in the bedroom kind of peace. Be the serenity that we do need.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need a clean shirt at that very moment at 9:00 at night where we got to do the laundry. That's not. I just give us the peace that we're not getting in the outside world. Create our home so that our home feels like home when we walk in. It's a safe place for us to finally go, okay,
yeah,
we're good.
You don't want to come home to an argument.
Not at all.
No.
Yeah. You don't want to come
arguing
home to
children.
Who knows what is going to be going on when I open the door. You just want to be able to be.
We are fortunate, Matt and I both, in this, that y'all do work from home. You're not in a job where you're surrounded by a ton of gossip that we have to hear every day because we don't care. Right? I'm not to say I don't care about what happens to you at work during your day. I just don't care who Becky's talking to.
Right. Yeah.
Don't bring that drama into our house.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of women that are working and around that drama, they do bring that home. Your guy cares about your day and that everything was good, but he doesn't necessarily want that drama brought into the house.
Right.
We got enough going on.
Mm-hmm. I could see that for sure. I mean, like you said, a peaceful home, and that's how I think we both feel that way big time. We want you to feel like, okay, we can shut the door and leave that stuff in the truck, and we come home and the kids might be fighting, things like that. Yes, but there's no worry of we coming in throwing bows, we're gonna be fighting. There's, everything's mass chaos. No, and I feel like that we try to provide that anyways.
And for me, without a doubt, it is a clean home
mm-hmm.
and everything, straightened up. And maybe that's just because I know that's what I would walk into and feel like this is peaceful.
Right.
Because everything is clean and put away and organized and all that stuff. Now I know we see the house two totally different ways.
Right. Yes.
But I'm like, if it feels clean, if it smells good, if things are arranged, that's got to be peaceful to come into, right? Like,
for sure. But I think like a message to not every, like he said, we work from home, and so we have a little bit more of like, I can throw a load of laundry in the middle of my whatever. I can, make sure that there's a lot of times where I'm like, oh God, I got 30 minutes, and I'll like speed clean and like shut the closet doors and throw everything in the dishwasher, go put some mascara on.
I skipped that part.
Because I look like a troll.
But I feel like there should be no reason, because we certainly do have things and tasks that take us out of the house. But I'm like, anything that he needs, work-wise, especially laundry or something like that, I'm like, there's no reason that I shouldn't have it done for him, because I am here more often. And now I'm not saying that certainly hasn't fallen through the cracks, but, like the boys with their school uniforms, which I have said uniforms are way easier. But then, sometimes I'm like, dang, I gotta, Sunday evening, I gotta do a load of uniforms.
Yep.
But just, trying to maintain that peaceful environment. I know you have said, so many times is so appreciated. It's a difference maker.
Mm-hmm.
And even beyond that, like you being the sole provider, I think I've told you this before, like, I try to do it every time that I go to the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
I'll send a picture of
Yes,
the
you did tell me
full
that.
refrigerator.
Yeah.
And I just say, hey, this is not possible without your hard work. Thank you. We appreciate you.
And that means a lot. We might not say it. Might think, okay, thank you. Like, we don't know how to express that back. So it means a lot to us when the work that we are putting in and is being appreciated, and we don't feel like it's being abused.
Mm-hmm.
There are plenty of people out there that abuse that.
Yeah.
And that's all. We just don't want to be abused. I don't mind going to work. I don't care. I just don't want it to feel like the other person or you on the other side doesn't care about the efforts that we are putting in, because maybe it's not efforts in doing the dishes. Maybe it's not efforts in doing the laundry. But I assure you there's plenty of weight that is carried that y'all know nothing about. We won't probably ever express that. I mean, Matt, you work for somebody, right? So your main concern is your wife and your kids, right? That's and obviously your job, but you're doing it for your wife and your kids. With me, it's actually a little deeper, and I'm not taking that away. But when you own a company, I have multiple people that work for me. It's not just me, my wife, and my kids.
Mm-hmm.
I have to be working because the people that work for me have wives and kids. It's not a household of 4. It's a household of 16 that I'm trying to make sure everybody has the money they need to be able to provide for theirs as well.
Right.
Yeah, because somebody said it once upon a time, said, it was when we were building the real estate team. And just, part of the reason scaling back on that is, it is difficult. But somebody said, you're not just responsible for one mortgage, you're responsible for 10.
Yeah.
Everybody
was
on
like,
the team.
whew.
I mean,
Yeah.
You're right. We are. We never thought about it that way.
Yeah, 10 mortgages. I don't know how many kids were spread between those families.
Yeah.
And that becomes a lot of weight. Your husband don't mean to work all the time. He's not choosing work over his family. I don't. I mean, I know Laura, she has mentioned that it does feel that way sometimes. And that's not a choice that I'm intentionally making. It's not like I'd rather be at work than at home. I hope to never feel that. It's that obligation, that weight that I do carry. I just need to make sure everybody's okay.
Right.
Everybody as a whole, not mine and my kids. That we'll get there. But there's just a line of people that I want to make sure are financially okay.
Yeah.
And without me doing what I've got to do every day, that is at jeopardy for them.
Right. So I think kind of just from this whole conversation too, I think if you guys, if maybe at your home, in the audience, if there's, you're like, man, I'm doing the best I can. I work, I try to come home, get some dishes clean. I try to keep up with some laundry or whatever, but there's still like a disconnect. maybe you're putting the pressure on yourself in all of the wrong areas.
No.
You know, like maybe there needs to be a conversation of like, okay, what can I do to provide some peace for you? Maybe I'm putting pressure on myself in the wrong areas. What can I do for you to make us better? You know, what can I do to make us feel better? Because the kitchen might be clean, but it doesn't matter at this point. Walking into, you know, we're fighting as soon as I get out the door or whatever. So I love that. I think that's really great advice of like, we tend to, it's maybe we're thinking we're doing it all, but we're
doing it all wrong.
We're not doing that one thing. Like you can drop all that and then just do this one thing.
Yeah.
So I think that's really great.
Well, I'm going to say something that may be controversial to a lot of people. So if you got to cut it out there, producer, do it. But I had a friend of mine, and him and his wife were going through some pretty serious issues. And we were standing on the porch, and I said, I look at it like this. And I don't want you, as my wife, to take this the wrong way, or you, Amanda. What do you provide that he can't go get elsewhere, right? And I mean that if I want food, there's plenty of restaurants.
Right,
If
yeah.
I want clean dishes, there's companies that come and clean houses and wash your clothes. As the provider, the financial provider, what do you provide that he can't go get with the money that he's making and working? And really, the only thing that is peace
Mm-hmm.
and
That's true, right.
trust and the relationship and the bond. The rest of it
Can be bought.
can be bought technically to any extent. I'm looking for my spouse to provide those things I can't go buy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. I think that's good.
We've had that conversation that, you know, peace is real high on that list. And, you know, I'd never thought about it until he brought it to my attention. But I was
She
like,
said the
"Yeah,
same
you're
thing.
right."
Her eyes got real big, and she was like, I don't know. I don't even know if I can answer that. So you got to find the answer to that. That's important to y'all to know that answer. We know we have to provide those same things to you, right? It is our job to provide financially and as a protector and even fill your emotional needs and whatnot. We know that we've got to provide that to y'all, but y'all have to know what to provide to us
Right.
too.
Well, and like we actually, on this other episode, you brought us to a great place because we talked about how we have more emotional needs, you guys have more physical needs. And whether that is something that is more of a need for us or not, still has to be provided.
Yeah.
We don't have the same need threshold for their physical touch, physical activity that they do, but to me, it's still important and has to be considered and provided. And I think that is part of your peace because for us, we just, you know, we can chat and, you know, tell you about all the things and like I feel better, but like you're like, okay, I'm still missing something here.
Yeah.
And so there's, you know, that's part of your peace at home is that is being provided. You know that, okay, we're going to have some time to be intimate, to be, you know, close to one another because that's part of the need that comes from home too.
Yeah.
If that is often withheld from a lot of women, right, and men, the emotional desire for men, the sexual need, right? That is, for a lot of people, that is
Almost weaponized.
correct. Yeah, it is a weapon. You do this and I do that, right? Well, they've not thought about the roles reversed. If I don't provide, then what do you have? Nothing. It does
have
go
to go do that somewhere else.
It goes both ways, right? And it shouldn't be weaponized. Sex shouldn't be weaponized.
No.
What we shouldn't be like, hey, I'm going to give you $500 a week, but this is what you're going to do. No, you're not.
Right.
You're not.
Although I'm sure it happens.
It happens. I'm sure it does, but it's freely given, it's freely desired, it's freely wanted from both parties. My job is to want to meet your needs. Your job is to want to meet my needs.
Right.
We just got to know what those are.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that is very true. Weaponizing it too is, I can see how, because I think when that starts, it doesn't necessarily like, I'm about to cut you off. It's not like that. It's like we're
lot more than
arguing,
that. Yeah.
and I don't want you to touch me, you know, or whatever the case may be. However that starts, and then that can go into a dangerous place of like, okay, now we're at this like, well, you're on the couch, like that. And that's not where you want to be. You've got to just work through that and get past that point, and that weaponizing of like, well, you're cut off this week and stuff like that. That just can't be, because if we were cut off, we're going to be hungry.
And homeless. Hungry and homeless.
Yes. Okay, but where am I going to go?
The problem is we would never want that for you.
Well, exactly. No, definitely not. No, I know that for sure. But, that is, we have this ability and, this power of like, no. But if you were to do that to us, we're in a bad spot.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the one thing I remember going to one of the marriage conferences, and they said, about just even talking about each other's roles, everything. Don't even think of it that way. Just try and outserve one another.
Yep.
Just continue to try and outserve. Mm-hmm. That day might not be their day. That week might not be their week. Try and outserve them. Just serve them, and then see what happens in return. And I think that really opened up my eyes, because when I was traveling a lot and everything, we were, I really wasn't seeing everything that you were really doing at the house, but I knew I was gone all the time, and then mm-hmm. coming home and then trying to do stuff. It really, I wanted me that weekend, because that was the only weekend I was home.
Yeah.
But then when I was like, no, let me try and do some of the stuff that she's doing too, the dishes, try to help any little bit. And then it's like, oh no, okay, wow, this is a whole different thing here. And so
I got
just
a baby
serving,
on the chest, and I'm doing dishes and cooking. Like,
just trying to outserve each other, and I think you find peace in that in a whole nother way as well.
I
and
do
the relationship works better.
I remember when you talked, when we like learned that, and we talked about that quite a bit, and we still actually talk about that quite a bit, because it really was kind of a game changer, and of like, and there again, thinking about, like, I have worked full-time jobs before. I've gone to the same place every day. I hated it.
Yeah.
I hated it.
Yeah.
I worked in an office full of women, and I came home crying every day. Like, I'm like, man, I don't know how you do this.
Miserable.
He argues with, like, it's his job to, like, not argue, but, like, settle things. And he plays mediator a lot. That would crush my soul. Like,
yeah. But to your point though, and I think it was a marriage conference or two ago, you'll be real hard pressed to find somebody that does consistently try to outserve their spouse that is in a terrible, relationship.
Oh, yeah, no.
Their marriage is awful.
Mm-mm.
It doesn't happen.
No, and that was part of that, is like thinking about, okay, if I had to do what he's doing, I would be crushed. I would not, I don't survive well in those roles. I've tried. And so thank you, thank you. And, trying to make sure that there is peace at home and the things are done when he gets there, because I don't want to have to do that.
No.
And I think the same is for him, of like, he tells me thank you
the dog's
all
still alive,
the
the kids are still alive, that's because of you.
Appreciate that.
It goes a long way.
Appreciate that.
Yep, yes, definitely mutual appreciation for sure.
Absolutely.
And saying thank you. Yeah, your picture to him with the groceries, I love that. I think that's such
it's
a good
just a little
idea.
thing, and like he said, he gets it. I sees that he gets it, but sometimes he doesn't respond, but I'm like, at least I know that you've received it.
Yep.
You might be busy or something, but at least you've looked down for just a second and you've read it, you've processed it,
I don't think I just don't think I know how to respond to that. Like, that is 100% my obligation. So
dudes are like,
just send me a heart emoji.
Yeah,
like, got you, boo.
Like,
that's
phones
all.
don't have those.
No,
they have the thumbs up.
Yeah. I was texting on his phone the other day, like just answering someone. I'm like, do you use exclamation points? Like, this feels bad. I don't want you to be like, hey.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, no, the guys still will read it as hey.
Yeah.
Y'all read way too far into that.
I'm like, okay, do I use a period? Or like, because I don't want you to
I've
sound
absolutely
silly.
done that. Like, and I'm like, am I responding as me or am I responding as Josh?
Yes.
Well, and I will say that if, you mentioned that you've worked in offices with a bunch of women, and that's hard. Listen, working around a bunch of men, it's not all that hard. We don't get our feelings hurt that easy, most of us. If you were to be a fly on the wall in most conversations that are happening on a job site,
We'd be like, ew.
you'd be appalled. But everybody's good. I mean, thank God we don't have HR, but I'm just saying,
You're being
Yeah.
guys.
we're being guys. Like, no,
But you're
our
supposed to
feelings don't get
manage
hurt.
people. I feel like the girls are like on the like, you know, the emotional, like it's the talking, gossiping, hurting feelings. But you guys are like, why would you do that? Why'd you do that like that? Like that, you know, like you still have to like manage people and deal with silliness too. Right? So you're doing those things just in a different way, which I don't. Mm-mm.
I'm not. You can count me out on that one. Which
I'm
we've
the
had
one
this.
crying
We've
in the
had this
corner.
conversation.
Yeah.
I think that working around a bunch of men, you don't get the drama out of the men. that
No,
you
not
get
the
out of
drama.
women, right?
No.
So if somebody doesn't
I
come
don't know.
to
Would you
work,
agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
yours pretty bad sometimes.
Yeah, mine's pretty bad. I mean, I'm dealing with contractors, you know, all over the state, and it's several different ones. It's not like, I mean, we have 100 people in our company, and then, you know, thank goodness I have to kind of help the superintendents. They manage all the foremans, which that breaks it down into the 100 people. But you still have got to, if there's issues, and we deal with the state a lot. Yeah. The state can find issues with a lot of things for nothing.
Yeah. We still have drama, just on a different scale.
Yes, you know, right, and it's expensive, and that's where my job stress comes in, because this week alone, you know, we've wasted almost $27,000 going back and forth just over nothing. But it's to prove that it's over nothing, and there again, it's about drama. Someone's getting their feelings hurt. They said don't do it that way. You did it that way. Are they getting the same results? Yes. Is everything fine? Yes.
Okay, then.
But it still is, you know, it's drama.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm again. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. So we're like we've gone a while now, and we're not even close.
Do you want to make this a two-parter?
Should we? Yeah.
Think so? All right.
Okay.
Let's keep going.